We hear this attitude a lot today that we should just accept someone for who they are as they are, including all their problems, all their issues, all their negatives. And really what it is it's sort of a demand that people put upon you when you encounter their issues. It's extremely antagonistic to the idea of growth. Like if they're incredibly rude, then they're just, oh, hey, you got to accept me for who I am. And the idea being that there's something wrong with you if you don't accept them for who they are. And this is an extremely damaging attitude because the idea is that they don't want to grow. They don't want to change. They don't want to become better. And really why that is because they don't want to look inside of themselves and see a problem. That will lead to a life running away from your problems and running away from the idea of growth. You will never grow. And I think one of the reasons why people do this is because we're sort of caught in this false alternative. Like we can either spend our lives beating ourselves up because we're not perfect, or we can just say, you know what, I'm not perfect, and everyone just needs to accept that. I'm not good, I'm not, I have all these flaws, and people just need to accept it and accept me as I am. But neither one is really growth oriented. Neither one is really encouraging you to look inside of you and say, you know what, that's a problem. I should work on that. So something that I've really worked on in myself, I think can really help you, is letting go of this idea of perfection. Letting go of this idea that really it's moral perfection. This idea that you inside, you always need to be right. You always need to be perfect. And this is, I think, is a really good example, is those guys who can never admit that they're wrong. They cannot admit that they're wrong because, that's admitting that they're not perfect and that there's something wrong with them, and therefore that there's something wrong with them fundamentally, like they are wrong. They are a bad person because they're not perfect. It's just so damaging to your ability to have confidence in yourself. If you're always on the defense against anyone seeing that you're wrong, you're going to be pretty paranoid and kind of petrified about putting yourself out there, about making a YouTube video for other people to see and critique and say, oh, you messed up here, you messed up there, you could do this better, you could do that better. It's going to make you not want to get out into the world for other people to see you and judge you, because everyone can always find something to critique. So the alternative given is that, well, just be okay with the fact that you're no good and just demand that everyone accept it. The problem with that is you're never going to grow. You're never going to change. There's something that Gordon Ramsay says a lot. I know it's kind of silly, but something Gordon Ramsay says a lot is, he will say, I want to hear the negatives. Don't tell me the positives. I want to hear the negatives, like in his restaurant or his food or whatever. Tell me the negatives, because that's how I grow. I grow through hearing the negatives. If my food was a bit dry, tell me that. That's what I want to hear, because then I can know that's what I need to improve. And it's all the people, in his shows, all these people who don't want to hear the negatives. They're the ones who have all the failing restaurants. They're the ones who have all the failing hotels or whatever, variants of shows that he does. The people who don't want to see the negatives, they're the ones who are failing horribly in their business or in their cooking or whatever it is. Switching that attitude in the show, switching that attitude for the people he's trying to help, suddenly their life turns around. When they want to hear the negatives, when they want to improve, that's when their life turns around. And it's this attitude that I've brought to my whole life, to everything about myself. It doesn't matter how painful it is. It doesn't matter how embarrassing it is. If I need to improve, then I need to improve. That's just an opportunity to become better, an opportunity to grow, to learn. I think one of the keys to doing this in yourself is being okay being in internal pain. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel bad when someone comes over and says, hey, you did this thing and it's shit. It's not going to be a neutral feeling of, oh, okay. It's going to feel bad. Like, oh man, I spent all this time doing this thing and this guy's pointing out that it's shit, and it is. Allowing yourself to feel that pain can be a motivator of, now I know not to do that. But most people will shut off at that point. They'll feel this pain, they'll feel the embarrassment, they'll feel the failure, and they'll shut that emotion off. They'll try to run away from that emotion, they'll repress it. And instead, they'll get defensive and they'll start arguing with that guy. No, it's not shit. Oh, I spent all that time. No, it's great. Oh, you just have different taste. Whatever, they'll just start making up excuses. And that's when, that's sort of the fork. You start making up excuses, you start getting defensive, you're not going to grow. If you're open, if you're eager to learn and to grow, you're going to do well in life. Whatever it is that you're doing. You could be a chef, you could be a welder, you could be an artist, doesn't matter. It's that attitude that will help you in all areas of life, and it will help you be more confident and more secure in yourself and more stable, and you're going to be able to handle a whole lot more than most people will. This is something I've tried very hard in myself to implement for years now. And I actually was told by one of my previous employers that I took criticism better than anyone else she had ever met. And it's this idea that has led me to that point where if someone gives me criticism, I'm hearing it because that's how I grow. So that's something that you can think about in yourself. It doesn't matter how painful it is. It doesn't matter how embarrassing it is. Feel the embarrassment, feel the pain. Don't repress it, because that's the key. Do not repress it. It's through that pain and through that embarrassment, through the failure, whatever the feeling it is. Feel that emotion, because it's by feeling it that you recognize the fact. I failed. And that's something else I kind of want to mention as an aside, is when we repress, we're stopping ourselves from seeing the fact, not just the emotion, but the fact itself. Because an emotion is simply experiencing the recognition of some fact. When you fail, you are fully seeing it when you feel that emotion, when you're feeling the failure. So don't repress it, because that's what it means to recognize it. And when you recognize it, then you can say, okay, how can I not do that again? Then you can learn, you can grow, and you can move on and become better every single time you mess up. It certainly helped me a lot. And it's given me confidence in myself, confidence to go do stuff, because I'm not worried like, oh, but what if I mess up? It's okay. I still have that worry, mind you. That worry doesn't go away, but the power that it has over people and the power that it used to have over me of, what if I fail? That's okay. I'll learn. Nothing wrong with learning, right? And so this is just a little tip to help you maybe get a little bit more confidence in yourself and be a little bit more confident going and getting things done, trying new things out, getting out there, ask that girl out. And if she says no, maybe you might learn a little something about the way you approached her. Try out for this job. You might learn something about the way they turn you down. Start a YouTube channel. Maybe you'll learn something there too, Not being afraid will free up so many opportunities for you. And it's that kind of confidence that I want to help you get on this channel. So I hope you like the video. Like if you like it. Hope to see you next time. Thanks so much.